Welcome back to Six Sided. Please like, share, and subscribe. We've got some massive fact or fiction questions for you tonight. Has Bukayo Saka ended? Has he put to bed the accusations of Estevao being better than him? We're looking at the title race. We're looking and going through some big question marks over Chelsea last night as well. Should Thomas Frank and should Arne Slot be sacked? There's a big claim being made surrounding that. Plus, is it embarrassing that Man United are just 3 points behind world champions Chelsea? These are your fiction and fact questions that you posted on our community page. We can't wait to debate them with you. Got a brilliant panel for you tonight. We've got Wolfie joining us later, and Quest should be here as well. But Kate, Seb, and Kunle on the show with us this evening. How are we all?
Good.
Lovely.
All good.
Fucking fun.
Got my nails done, so I'm happy. I'm a happy girl because I've got new Christmas nails. So yeah.
Oh, look at them.
Life's good.
When are you getting your nails, Seb?
Mine are a bit short, to be fair, but I was thinking some more like green and the green and red. That's traditional Christmassy colours. Maybe get some tinsel,
Yeah, and the green's a little emo, isn't it? A little emo. You can get dark
it's a
green
little bit. Yeah. My favourite colour is green, so it would be appropriate.
Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Someone sent me something. Anyway, we'll go to that in a minute. Wolfie's here with us now as well. Kunle, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, man. 5 points clear at the top of the league, mate. Ecstatic. How are you?
Mate, I'm great. My team, I'm on loan at Arsenal, top of the league. Man United got a chance to go 5th in the Premier League table tonight. Nobody would have thought that. Nobody would have predicted that. So yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I cannot complain. You must be good, Wolfie. Big win last night. Relegation win. Relegation
light
battle
work.
win.
It wasn't light work. It was a dead game, but yeah, I'll take the 3 points. Very good. 4 wins in 5, 1 loss in 7. 7th in the form table. What are you saying, Kunle? You good, bro?
I'm fantastic. I'm nice to see you, Wolfie. It's been a
3
minute.
point collectors.
It's been a minute, man. That's how we do, man. That's how we do. Kate, can you relate?
No, forgot what it's like to win. Just going to put it out there.
Now you know how Jim feels every night when he goes to bed. Come on now. I'm on your side, Jimbo. I'm on your side. I'm on your side. Look, we're going to start with our first fiction or fact question, and it obviously leads into a couple of conversations, one into tonight's game. I'm going to go to Seb first on this. Seb, fact or fiction? It's embarrassing that Man United are just 3 points behind world champions and title contenders Chelsea.
I would say it's a fiction. I've been pretty kind to Man United this season. I think their underlying stats have always looked reasonably good. They create a lot of XG a game, and even the underlying stats suggest United should be where they are. It's actually interesting looking at Chelsea because people have been saying Chelsea have been so much better. When you actually look at those underlying stats for Chelsea, they're pretty much even with what they've been the last 2 years. I think it's obviously been an advantage for Arsenal as well, but for Chelsea, because the other bigger sides have dropped off quite a lot. Obviously, City have been worse this year. Liverpool are the big ones here where they've dropped off so far. So it's kind of propped Chelsea up there. But so it was kind of, for me, Chelsea are in a kind of a false position anyway, personally. But it just shows the squad depth for Chelsea, particularly how poor it is when they make some changes and they just look like a completely different side. But I don't think United are as bad as people like to see. It's so funny getting on match reactions and you just drop some points and then there's an absolute just cacophony of people complaining about this, everything else. And then you go and win the next game and it's all of a sudden, once we get Šeško back, we'll be top 3. So it's just like, I don't think Man United fans help themselves really. They do feed into us a lot, especially because United have such a big, obviously, fan base. It's going to be polarised at times. But for me, I think United have done really well this season. They've taken on big strides. So, yeah, I think it's fiction. And United are one of the biggest clubs. They're bigger than Chelsea anyway. So it should never be an embarrassing situation that United are behind Chelsea. Because I think at some point they're going to level out. And I think United and Chelsea are in the same race for top 5. So I don't think it's that embarrassing, to be honest. Because I didn't expect Chelsea to stay up there anyway. So
what are you saying, Kunle? I mean, Man United have been laughed at, mocked, and at times rightfully so. It's my club, but I can be honest, rightfully so. We've been looked at and laughed at. A win tonight against West Ham at home, which I think should be a win. They're not a very good team. United are level on points with title contending world champions Chelsea. Who does that say more about, in your opinion?
I'm not going to lie to you, because I had Chelsea as my favourites outside Arsenal to win the league this year. So I'm going to be a lot harsher than Seb was in this scenario, because Chelsea are supposed they took us all the way on Sunday. They told us they're in the title race, and then 3 days later they're out of the title race. Big world champions, one of the best squads in the Premier League. It's embarrassing, because we've not been talking about Chelsea in an embarrassing manner this season. We haven't been. We've been giving them praise, talking about the likes of Caicedo, Estevao, Reece James, this, that, and the third. So to now not acknowledge that we have been bantering and attacking Man U nearly every other week, and for Seb to say that it's not embarrassing to be that close, come on, bro. You're being disingenuous here. It is embarrassing that the big, bad world champions, title contenders, who they've also been going on the terrace and laughing at Manchester United as well, by the way, to then be so close to being behind them in the table. It's embarrassing. So for me, it's a fact, 100%.
I'm going to say the same as Kunle. I think it's a fact as well, because I think Chelsea, come on here, give it large. Oh, we won the World Cup. It shows, first of all, winning the Club World Cup really don't mean shit. That's the first thing. Second of all, Chelsea fans always overhype their squad. They always overhype their chances. I had Man City as the second favourites for the league behind Arsenal. I think it also shows how competitive the Premier League is this year. You know, the fact, I mean, we're only 5 points behind Chelsea and we're dreadful. Do you know what I mean? It's so close, the Premier League table. And I think it also shows that Amorim is improving Man United. It might be slow, but they are better than they were last year. So, yeah, I think 100% it is a fact. And I think Chelsea fans need to take a look at themselves, stop giving it, and understand that they're in the middle of a rebuild. It's going to take time, and they're trying to run before they can walk.
What are you saying, Wolfie? What are you saying on this?
Yeah, I can agree more. If the question said it's embarrassing that my team's below Manchester United, I'd have said fact as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that Chelsea, who are champions of the world, let's not forget the other narrative. They completed Europe last season, guys. Let's not forget that one as well. You know, trying to gloss up a crappy Conference League Cup. I just think the teams that should be doing well this season, who spent as much as they did and everything, have not clicked. You got Liverpool, you got Chelsea, you got Spurs to a certain extent, all spending this money and not clicking. I think United are finding themselves a bit in a default position because everyone else has been so bad. It kind of reminds me of that season under Solskjaer, where you finished, was it under Solskjaer where you finished second, but it was like 6 million points behind Man City, but United fans were still saying, well, we finished second, you know. So it's starting to feel a bit like that at the moment. I think both clubs should be embarrassed of where they are with the heritage they have behind them. To not even be considered in title races for both these clubs is quite frankly embarrassing.
Hey, let's focus on Chelsea for now. Let's focus.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can put them in the same boat because these are two teams. You'll notice when Man U played you at the start of the season, I had to double check that you actually won the way they were celebrating that result. And we saw the same this weekend with Chelsea. Again, I had to double check because I thought they won it the way they were celebrating it. So there's a lot of standards dropping from both these teams. And but yeah, I think it's embarrassing for Chelsea more so than United.
No, I agree in part because I'm embarrassed at where Man United are as a club after how much the Glazers have allowed us to spend in the last 13 years, albeit the last 18 months has been Ineos running the football element. So I'm embarrassed about that. Where I look at things slightly differently is you are where you are, because I look at your football club as an example, a beacon of English and European football if you go back to the 80s, but spent a quarter of a century away from where I believe it should be. When you guys got promoted, I was very happy as someone who remembers how brilliant Nottingham Forest were. I wouldn't expect, though, every season for those 25 years the good ones you had, especially when you got promoted. I wouldn't expect you to get promoted and still feel embarrassed because you're not back at the peak level you were at. So I do differentiate the overarching view of where we are versus the current situation, being accepting what you are, but without not wanting to get better. So for me, this season so far, we have been better than I thought we'd be, especially if we win tonight, because we're above where I thought we'd be in the league. I thought about 8th. Do I look at that and go, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, maintain this forever? Absolutely not. But when it comes to Chelsea, it has to be embarrassing. If we're looking at that as the question that was posed by one of our customers, one of our members, I look at it and think Chelsea must feel that way. Especially as 48 hours ago, there was a percentage of Chelsea fans that really thought they could catch and would catch and overtake Arsenal. But then I was looking at some of the numbers. So, like David here says, it says that United are in a false position. Well, I don't know if I agree with that when you actually break it down. So, for instance, things like XG conceded, if you're someone that looks at that, United are not in a great position. We sit sort of 12th in that table, and we've conceded like 18.8 goals. But Chelsea that sit 5th, sorry, Chelsea actually are on 18.3 goals, but they sit 7th on that list. City are second best in the country at XG conceded on 15. So we're around 3 away from that. Two good games against the 2 weakest teams in the league. That could change a little bit if we're good. But I want to put this into perspective. From Man City right up to Man United, there's a cluster of about 10 to 15 teams, all separated by 1 to 3 XG. The leaders in this are Arsenal, only conceded 7 XG. My point is, Man United are closer to City in second than City are to Arsenal in first for that being conceded. When you look at expected goals, United are right up there, only a couple behind the Chelseas and the Arsenals of this world. Big chances created in games. A fair way behind Man City, who are top, but pretty close to everybody else. I expect that, by the way, in the next 2 games against Wolves and West Ham to increase, because they've been whipping boys this year, and I'll be having a go at my team if they don't. So I don't necessarily think it shows that United are in a false position. I think what it shows me, because the league is the league, you can't help how good the other teams are. Because if we use that narrative, well, if Man United had never have dropped off, if Arsenal would never have dropped off, then maybe the champions of the last 10 years wouldn't exist, right? I don't like that kind of narrative. I think it's stupid. Chelsea just, for me, haven't yet hit the level of consistency this season that I thought they would. I thought they'd win, like games like last night. I expect them to win. Sunderland at home, I expected them to win. I expected them to beat us at Old Trafford as well. I do think they are better than us. So they've had at least 3 results this year. Brighton as well. Those 4 games, I just looked at as very winnable for them. They were leading in 2 of them. And I think that Chelsea fans should be very disappointed with that. Doesn't mean you've got to throw baby out with the bathwater, but I'd be disappointed if I was in Chelsea's position, winning 2 trophies, being world champions, having the squad you've got, and still being in that little cluster with the likes of Man United, with the likes of Brightons and Palaces. Yeah, I'd be pissed off with that, definitely.
Sorry. They've spent £2.3 billion or whatever it is they've spent, and they've got a keeper that's clearly not good enough. They've got centre-backs. I mean, you only had to watch last night and see what happened there. So they've got so many parts of their squad that are still not good enough. Like I say, I just think that they're massively overhyped. I heard Gary Neville saying that they have got absolutely no chance of winning the Premier League. And I can't disagree. And I think as well, there's no team really, apart from Arsenal, that have got any sort of consistency. That I don't think any other team have got consistency this year. And that's why it's kind of boring in a way, because Arsenal, I think, are going to run away with it. I can't see anybody sort of clawing their way back.
We like the sound of that. We like the sound of that. Okay, everything you said, I kind of agree, but I only agree with now it's a 9-point situation. Because, like, let's look. I wanted to look at the credentials. Like, at the start of the season, Chelsea had 2 players for every position. Cole Palmer has just come off being, I think he's the best 10 in the league. Caicedo's best DM. I guess you could say if it's DM, not midfielder, then he's definitely there. So they've got a lot of quality in there. Reece James is back to full fitness. This squad have been together and won 2 trophies together. So being overrated, I don't think they've been overhyped at all, because they've spent a lot of money. But instead of admitting that they've spent a lot of money, they want us to analyze how they've spent the money. I don't remember any team that spent big money that people we spent money on these type of players. Versus, you don't get the luxury of doing that. I think David was on the stream the other day talking about how we did this for FSP and all this stuff that he was talking about. But the fact that you're in the position where you can not cheat the system, but get yourself back in a positive situation is because of the money. And does that benefit the club? Of course it does. So we have to judge you on the money you spent, not how you've spent it. So based on the money you've spent, the trophies you've won recently, and the fact that you've got 2 players for every position, Chelsea should be embarrassed at the situation they're in right now, being so close to Manchester United. There's no reason why you should go from taking the league leaders to the end of the game with 10 men and then losing away at Ellen Road. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Go on, Wolfie. Sorry, mate.
I was just going to say, they're behind Villa. And, Villa have been absolutely fantastic. But let's not forget Villa's summer. Villa was struggling with PSR. They sold some of their players that they would not have liked to have sold. And they just celebrate the fact they were able to keep Morgan Rogers in the summer. And look what they're doing. It shows you that even if their squad kind of was depleted from some key players, they're able to put it together if the manager is competent enough and he can get a tune out the players. I don't think Maresca's getting enough heat at the moment. Any manager who's had that crazy amount of money spent, whether or not the Chelsea fans want to say, oh, we still need a centre-back, oh, we need a goalkeeper. These are the same fans that tell me they have the best midfield in the world, not just in the Premier League. They've got the best right-back in the world. They've got the best potential in Delap coming in. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Either you have the best midfield and the best right-back, etc. in the world, and you're going to produce the results, or your money's not been spent properly. Like, they conflate so many things. I just think...
Sorry.
Go on.
No, I wanted to ask you, I'll go to yourself first on this question, because I've watched a lot of Chelsea fan cams and reactions to last night, and so much of it is TOSIN ruined the game for us, TOSIN ruined it. Some people have even sat on my show and said that because TOSIN was in the team, it impacts how it makes everybody else play poorer as well. Do you think even TOSIN, as bad as he was last night, do you think players like him get scapegoated when the Laps and Pedros and Enzos don't deliver?
I think the real narrative is Leeds absolutely schooled them yesterday. I don't care if TOSIN was playing there or Prime Maldini. The way Leeds took that game was so much better. And I think it's disingenuous of Chelsea fans to sit there and almost discredit what Leeds say by trying to blame everything on TOSIN. But there always seems to be a scapegoat with them when they lose a match, when something like that happens. Whereas the reality and the cold hard facts is Leeds went into that game with the application that they wanted to win. Farke had changed his system in their previous match and saw a turnaround and stuck with it. And Chelsea just went into that game, I think, too arrogant in terms of Leeds are 19th. We just need to turn up and win it. And they should have respected Leeds a lot more. I don't think Leeds are getting enough credit for what they did yesterday. And to single out TOSIN for me is just easy, low-hanging fruit.
Just a quick one about TOSIN. As a Nigerian, we don't claim him, please. Let's just put that one out there for the masses. Smash the like for that.
He's been omitted from your squad, hasn't he?
But Leeds definitely schooled Chelsea, and if not for that, I think they should already have been 3-1 up with the amount of chances they had. They were actually missing. But it's easy to scapegoat TOSIN, but the real person to blame is Maresca.
He put him on the pitch.
Yeah, well, TOSIN being kept on the pitch. I understand Fofana and Reece James not playing because they've got a game against Bournemouth again on the weekend, and it's 4 games. It's 5 games in 14 days for the Champions League teams.
Both of them, though, Terry. Both of them.
Yeah, well, both of them have. Yeah, but both of them have bodies made of biscuits. I do understand it because the harder game on paper is away to Bournemouth at the weekend. Although Bournemouth are on a really bad run. The issue is it wasn't just those two. He then takes out Gusto. And for some reason, Chelsea fans have been telling me they went to a back 3 last night. I'm like, no, Estevao was not playing wing back. He then put Chalobah, who's left-footed, I believe, at right back. Takes Gusto out the team. So you've got no natural right back in the side. Neto is then not in the team. And you've got 2 youngsters in Estevao and Gittins on the football pitch. Delap really hasn't found his feet as of yet. So you've not just got 2... And then Caicedo's banned. So you're suddenly taking... I thought I heard Simon Jordan say something earlier today, and he is right. I think this Chelsea team will get top 4. I still think they're shoo-in, even though they had that bad result. But it shows that you scratch beneath the surface of a few areas, and that squad is shaky, which is why when I hear the likes of Don say, we're this close to Arsenal, we're basically, he has said every department of their team is as good or better, barring their centre-backs. Last night is proof to me, because Arsenal had both centre-backs out and one injured during the game, rotated 3 or 4 first-team players, and still won the football match. Yes, they were at home, but again, I think Brentford are a better team than Leeds, and they got the job done. And that's just areas for them to look at. But I do agree with you, Wolfie. I do feel with Chelsea this season, there's been a little bit of, there's always a reason. So Arsenal are lucky Caicedo got sent off. United are lucky Sanchez got sent off. Brighton are lucky that Chalobah got sent off. Well, most of those red cards happen because your players were overextending themselves, or against United, you got ripped open. It's not lucky. There's always like another team gets lucky, or it's one player that ruined it for them. When I look at it and go, well, there's multiple issues here at once. I sometimes feel the analysis is a little disingenuous, to say the least.
Yeah, agreed.
See, I think the embarrassing, because obviously I said it wasn't, but I was like, I think the embarrassing factor comes from me is because the whole season been, I think Chelsea are in a top 4 battle. Are
you changing your mind? Are you changing your mind here, Seb?
Hold on. There's 2 sides to the question.
Flip flop anonymous? Come on.
There's 2 sides to this question, right? Because I've never expected Chelsea to be in a title race. So for me, it's not embarrassing for where they are, because that's where I thought they were going to end up. It's more, the embarrassing factor for me comes from where the Chelsea fans themselves have put Chelsea on a pedestal by saying all of this rubbish, which just wasn't true in the first place. It's just like the frustrating bit for me is it's like you've drawn against Arsenal. You're making these overarching statements off of a performance when you know the consistency isn't there. Me and a few Chelsea fans had a debate on a top-sided show before, and I said, I don't think Chelsea are in the title race. I don't think they're going to be, because I don't think they've got enough experience. They've got a lot of young talent there. But to bring through young talent, you need the more experienced players in there, and they just don't. And their example was, we do have experience. We've got TOSIN. And I said, yes, it's experience, but he's not good experience. He's older, but he's crap. He's worse than your younger players. So how is that good experience at all? So for me, it's just like, I don't think it's embarrassing from the point of view, I never expected Chelsea to be in a title race. So therefore, fighting for top 4 shouldn't be an embarrassment for Chelsea. That's where they should be. But it is an embarrassment because Chelsea have put them on a pedestal to make themselves be embarrassed because of what they were saying. I don't think the club itself should be embarrassed, but the fans should be, for sure. But yeah, that's just my.
I disagree. I think the club and the fans should all be embarrassed. You don't spend nearly £2 billion. You don't celebrate the way you did in the summer. You don't spend a further 350 million this summer on players. To do what? They finished 4th last season and won these massive trophies, as they keep telling us. So surely you would expect, after spending more in the summer, that the expectation should be higher than what you achieved last year. So if that's not the case, what's acceptable for Chelsea this season?
Because where did you personally think they were going to be this year?
I think they should have been top 3 at the very least, and in a title race. I'm sorry, but what's their next step?
Yeah,
because
Seb, what were you
tell me.
But the thing is, are you basing? Wait,
what were you expecting of Chelsea? Because you changed your face expression when Wolfie said.
So I think Chelsea. My expectation was Chelsea was being in a top 5 fight. So that's why I'm not that embarrassed. I wouldn't say that it's embarrassing being where they are, because I don't think, regardless of how much money they've spent, they haven't spent it wisely. So I wouldn't just go, oh, they spent this much, they should be there. They have spent that much, but they don't have the squad to be there. And half of what they've spent that money on, the thing is, half of that money there they spent and then got most of it. They just went to Saudi Arabia. So half of that money that they spent isn't even there.
You're being part of their board right now, because you're being part of their board a little bit now. Because you're trying to make me believe that the team that finished 4th, after finishing 4th, won 2 trophies and spent more money in the summer. You expected them to just compete for the same position that they finished in. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Where's the logic?
Their squad isn't good enough. That's the point for me. Their squad isn't good enough to be fighting for top. Their squad is not good enough for a title race, so therefore I'm not going to expect them to be in a title race, because their squad isn't good enough.
Wait, so why did they spend the money
world
they spent in
champions?
the
Are you
summer?
telling me world champions aren't good enough to win a league? What are you talking about, bro?
What isn't good enough to win the league? It's not. It's just
Well,
not.
are you hearing that? I'm not saying Europe. I said world champions.
Well, look who they play.
World
It's
champions.
a blown. It's completely blown out of proportion.
Battered PSG in the final. Battered them.
Mm.
Not beat them. Battered them. So how are they not expected to challenge for the title? Seb, come on.
Because let's think of the world or England, Kunle. I can't remember. You know what I'm saying? Like, surely little old England should be easily conquered if they've taken the world on. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, right? Chelsea, I get what you're saying, but from my point of view is their squad isn't better than Arsenal's or City, so therefore I'm not expecting them to win the league, regardless of how much money.
Okay, but let me ask you this: if Chelsea's owner comes out in the summer and drops a statement to the fan base saying, "Guys, just to let you know, we're champions of the world, we've completed Europe. We are this summer going to spend 300+ million to just maintain our position and not win a trophy this season." Would they accept that in the summer?
Well, Chelsea fans wouldn't know.
Okay, so why are you saying it's okay then?
I'm saying it's fine for where they are because that's where I expected them to be.
Surely their expectations should have been to be in a title race.
Yeah, but you have to base their expectations on the squad they have. Their squad wasn't good enough to win. That's just from my point of view. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. If you spent that poorly, I'm not just going to go, "Oh, you spent that much. You should be in a title race," because that's just not how football works. You can spend loads of money, but if you buy absolute tripe, you're not going to be in a title race. So therefore, from their squad, just all I'm basing this on is I look at their squad, I compare it to Arsenal and Man City. They're nowhere near Arsenal or Man City's level. Then therefore, I don't expect them to be in a title race. That's just my way of thinking. Really, I don't care how much money they spent. Their squad ain't good enough.
It's actually worse because Liverpool have dropped off and opened the door even bigger. So there was an even bigger opportunity for them to push better than they are. So I just think I think they're embarrassing at the moment, Chelsea.
Yeah, you're letting them off, Seb, man. You're letting them off. Big time.
Let's do some super chats here. Maresca keeps picking TOSIN, who cost us at least 12 points. Look, I think there is some truth in that. TOSIN hasn't been great. But for me, Enzo, the first goal is not on TOSIN. The opening start to the game where Leeds run you over wasn't on TOSIN. Your lack of Maresca's lack of ability to adapt to the changing formation from Leeds that nobody was expecting isn't on TOSIN. Enzo Fernandez giving the ball away that led to the second goal isn't completely on TOSIN. He maybe could have closed down a bit better. The third goal is massively on him, there's no doubt. But you were 2-1 down at that point. Maybe you come back. But this idea that TOSIN is the sole reason, I think it's a cop-out. It deserves his criticism, but there were multiple things wrong. João Pedro, awful last night. The lap, I'm not going to lie, I think he might turn it round. I'm not going to write him off. But right now, I'm so glad Man United didn't sign him with the way he looks. Like we've got enough issues with Šeško finding his feet when he's back fit, but he looked awful. Estevao, who we'll get onto later, better than Saka, 2 games in a row taken off at half time. I think the idea of going, if TOSIN didn't start, that wouldn't have happened. I think I think personally that's a slight exaggeration, and maybe it's those exaggerations that can sometimes lure you into a false sense of security. I think barring Fofana when he's fully fit, your centre backs aren't at that top class to world class level. I just don't think that, and I don't think they have been for a long time at Chelsea. Obviously, barring Thiago Silva when he was there, but you've got to remember, it was Chalobah and Fofana that started the game against Manchester United at Old Trafford. And yes, the red card happened very, very early in that game, but it happened because you were getting ripped apart. That was no TOSIN on the pitch. So I've seen Chelsea crumble and fold without him on the football pitch. So I just find it hard. And maybe I rate Chelsea. I think Chelsea are a really good team. I just find it a little bit hard. I think the game you played against Brighton, when you ended up, you were cruising, got a man sent off, and he went on to lose the game. He didn't start that game either, as far as I'm aware. So it isn't just him. Here, this is Kunle, stop it. World Club Cup is not a serious competition. The trophy is literally sitting on Trump's desk.
Yeah, but Terry, if you bring up that previous super chat, if you bring up that previous super chat, have a look at their profile pic.
Sorry, say that again, sorry?
If you bring up that previous super chat, have a look at their profile pic, and then people say, world champions. See, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah, I see that. Thank you, Wayne, as well for the super chat. This is a comment from Maresca. So Maresca, there's nothing that we can do from this game. The only thing we can do is try to understand the mistakes we have done, try to reset, because in 3 days we have one more game. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's either here nor there. I thought I was going to be interesting, Robin. Sorry, Rob. I thought that was going to be an interesting one. I was like, oh, this will be exciting.
Yes, is Estevao been staying at yours for a couple of days? Where's he been, mate?
Who?
Estevao, Steve.
Esther who?
I don't know.
He's been staying at yours this time, man. We ain't seen him for a couple of games, man. Well, go on.
That's nice, Goodley.
Isn't that chest from the other day, bro? What you like?
I don't really know what you want me to say about Estevao. He's 18, so.
He's 18. Yeah. When you were hyping him up, he wasn't just 18. He was experienced.
Well, actually, if you, I'll let you finish. Don't worry, you go.
We'll come on to Estevao. Guys, we'll wait for Estevao because we've got a section on that a bit later. This says that seriously, though, the Conference League and Trump's paperweight made Chelsea one of the title favourites. Is what. In fairness, though, to Quest that's here, Quest and his brother Kojo didn't talk about title challenging. To be fair, that's other Chelsea fans. Tomorrow, straight facts. Don will be there. He should be there. It's going to be a barbecue, baby. It's going to be a barbecue. Why does Kunle look jacked? Wins boosting testosterone? Maybe.
Thanks, I guess.
There are scientific studies that show things like that are true. That show things. They do these tests, like if a man buys a new car, gets a very nice new car, it boosts testosterone. But men that like constantly see people in better cars or having better things in them can lower testosterone. There've been like real studies done to those things. So maybe that's why Kunle's gone from looking skinny to looking jacked. Because you had that sort of, yeah. No, I'm only joking. Won't rule out any rivals until we're 12 plus points clear. We'll get onto Arsenal a little bit later. World champions for another 3.5 years, Wolfie.
Hey.
Well, hold on. Unless they change the rules, am I not correct in assuming Chelsea may not even qualify to defend their so-called world championship?
Maybe, but we won it.
Congrats. Didn't Arsenal win the Audi Cup the other year as well? Well done, Kunle.
Hey. From world champs to world chumps. Yeah, it's often
said. Look at that.
A little bit of banter. Right, next fiction or fact question. And what direction am I going in here? Do we leave Chelsea and Arsenal for a bit and come back to them later? Should we do that? Because actually, no, we will, because they're quite spicy. We're just still letting the audience build up. This is the next one. And I'm going to go to the lovely Kate first on this one. Fiction or fact? Both Thomas Frank and Arne Slot will be sacked before the January transfer window opens.
I am saying fiction. I think Frank's under pressure, but I think the board have made it clear that they see him being a long-term appointment at Spurs. Arne Slot, the same. FSG wants stability at the club. They've already said they're going to back him in January. I just don't see either of them going in January or by January. I think Thomas Frank has probably been told that he's got a certain amount of time to turn it round. But just for me, if you was to sack, for instance, Thomas Frank, first of all, I just don't know what on earth you'd achieve by it. I don't know who you'd get in at this point in the season. He hasn't really had time to sort of get his own team yet. He hasn't had a proper window. And then Arne Slot, I think, has got a bit of credit in the bank. Obviously won the league last year. I think Liverpool fans are far too entitled. I said it last time. I think they need to understand that this season, lots of different factors. Players are aging, the Jota situation. And I don't see FSG sacking him either. So I'm saying neither will be sacked by the January window.
Mm-hmm. What do you think they should be? I mean, Arne Slot. I mean, last night they drew at home again. Most Liverpool fans now are just on that sort of element of something's got to change. Do you think they're right to stick by it? I kind of get the situation at Tottenham, but what do you think with Liverpool? Defending champions, but I mean, they're pretty much, they might as well give up the gold lions now.
I just think that he needs to rebuild their team. I think, like I say, Salah is not the player he was. Van Dijk's clearly not the player he was. And I just think it'd be a travesty if they sack him. I think, and I'm not saying that because I want Slot to stay there because of Liverpool. I just think Liverpool fans are so incredibly entitled, like Hassam, who think that they should win something every year, Hassam, the fraud. And so I think they deserve this little bit of pain. You want to know the truth? And I think that they're going to have to just be patient. I do not see FSG pulling the plug on Arne Slot yet.
This is worst start for Liverpool since the 1930s. Their worst opening 14 games in almost 100 years, though.
Wow.
That's football, though. Look at this season, though, Terry. At the end of the day, Arsenal, like I say, the only one showing any sort of consistency. It's just a crazy season so far. It's only been 14 weeks, but it's madness.
What are you saying, Wolfie? Do you think Liverpool fans are entitled for wanting Arne Slot sacked?
I think they are one of the most entitled fan bases going, but you could argue they have the, pedigree to have that entitlement with the trophies they've won. I think Arne Slot has been too stubborn. I just think he's set in his ways and it doesn't look like he's going to change. They've had a couple of little results here and there where you think, okay, is he going to change? I think back to the Real Madrid one. And then he sets up completely different for the Man City game after that. I think I would like him to stay as well as Thomas Frank. I think neither manager is going to have a good season. And it depends really, because of the Champions League, that is probably saving his job because he's still in it and they do have a chance of winning that. I think you'll see come the new year, they'll probably turn their focus more towards that than they will the Premier League. And that's probably their best chance of winning silverware. And that would salvage their season. In terms of Spurs, I said in the summer, Thomas Frank was just overhyped. He's a defensive manager. It reminded me a lot of when they signed Nuno. Again, talk about entitled fans. Spurs are the worst. They think they're bigger than they are. They've just got to accept that they were 17th last season for a reason. The table doesn't lie. And 16th and up would have been progress for them this year. So they can't attract a bigger manager than Thomas Frank. I don't know who would go to Spurs, who would want to go to Spurs. Thomas Frank was the level they could attract. He's never won a trophy, very similar to the team he's joining. And they're just going to have to deal with him because that's what they wanted. They wanted a pragmatic manager because they had Ange. Yeah, he's conceded more goals than Ange. So what happened to him sorting out defenses and what have you in the same time frame? And on top of that, Spurs are just Spurs and they always will be. And this is the thing. Their fan base needs to stop thinking they're a top 6 team. They're not. They're just there
not
on
all
finances.
Of their fan base. Not
all
the
fan base, but you would agree a large majority.
Yeah, there are a few.
Yeah.
Dickheads.
I don't know what Spurs fans want. This is the thing. I think the biggest trophy they can win is the one they won last year, which was the Europa League. They'll never win the Premier League. They'll never win the Champions League. So they should be happy with what they won last year. And for them, finishing in a European spot is basically going to be a trophy for them. So Thomas Frank, will they sack him? Probably. I thought he'll be gone by February, I said at the start of the season, because I know how Spurs fans think. My brother's bloody one of them. And they're just not happy. And they're extremes. Either they get a manager who's too attacking or they get one who's too defensive. They need a balanced manager. Someone like a Marco Silva would probably be that kind of right balance and right level for him. But would he leave Fulham for Spurs? I'm not so convinced.
I can't take bans from a Forest fan, but I'm just going to sit here quietly. Kunle, I'll let you go.
It wasn't banter.
You let me go. Hey,
He meant it.
You're trying to say that Spurs are Spurs as though Forest are anything special.
Well,
he
we have
wasn't speaking with Forest in mind, Kate. He was just speaking.
He's just being mean. He's just being a big, mean wolf. That's what he's being, a big, mean wolf.
I mean, I was speaking for
Who's
Forest.
afraid of the big bad wolf? Kate is.
With me, I think it would be very cheeky for Liverpool to get rid of Arne Slot at this moment. Yes, he's been super stubborn, but I just don't think they understood that as Salah gets older, he's going to lose something at some point. It just happened to be the time where he signed a major contract and having a great season, winning the league. And then I don't think Liverpool fans and Arne Slot realized how much the loss of Trent was going to change their team. Like, they need to find a kind of a new style of play, because they've had a playmaker at right back for the last 7 years. This is the first time in how many years they've had a playmakers in the middle of the park. So he does have a little bit to fix. Yes, he could have been less stubborn and probably could have fixed some things a lot quicker. But at the end of the day, a manager that wins you your 20th league title in his first season deserves a chance to the end of the season, for the sheer fact that I don't think they can't win the league. I don't believe. Number one. Number two, they're still in the Champions League. They're still in the FA Cup because it's not even started for them yet. So there's still hope. I don't see another guy coming in doing better than that hope. So what is the point of not giving Arne Slot to, at the very least, to the end of the season and see how it plays out? That's for Slot. In terms of Thomas Frank, I just think he's still lost in the whole. Am I still at Brentford? Like, he doesn't know where he is yet, mate. He just went a few minutes down the road. He thinks he's still at Brentford. He doesn't realize he doesn't have to give Bentancur the same instructions as he was giving Norgard. He doesn't give Kudus the same instructions he was giving Mbeumo, because they're completely different teams, completely different quality of player as well. So once he snaps out of that, I believe we'll start seeing things level out a little bit. And let's be honest, anyone in this panel, hey, if Spurs finish 8th, that's a good season. 8th from 17th to 8th. That is a good season.
16th is progress, didn't they? 16th is progress, bro.
Oh, see, 16th is definitely progress. But if they finish in the top half after Frank taking them on, like, I think Spurs fans need to be content. As you said, Wolfie, they don't need to stop being in this bubble that we're a guaranteed top 6 side. Obviously not, because you finished 17th. I don't know the last top 6 side to finish that low in the table. I don't know. If so, let me know the season that happened as well. So you need to gradually get yourself up to speed. Frank I think he should at least get this season and next season, because it's his first season playing European football, let alone Champions League football, and finishing 8th and having a good couple of cup runs. I think that's perfect for Spurs at this stage.
And Kinley, if you look at his first interview when he was Spurs manager, he set the stall out to them. I don't know why they're so shocked. The first thing he said in the preseason tour was, "I guarantee you we will lose matches." That was the first thing he said to them, and he's come true on his promise. He then said he doesn't know of any team that doesn't lose matches, and he said, "Oh yeah, crap Arsenal." So it started off on the wrong foot for him from day one. This is what they're getting with Thomas Frank, and they've just got to cope with it.
Wolfie, Jimbo's asked me to ask you a question. He says,
Right.
what on earth has your brother done to you to make you hate Spurs so much?
Being my brother.
His
entitlement.
Yeah, I do think Wolfie's onto something in terms of. I've said it a few times. I think they have. I call it Tottenham dysmorphia. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they are as a collective. I kind of get a Man United having a fan base that's really split because of what we were, and you get this. It's age based. A lot of the older heads that remember the 70s and getting relegated, they're more calm because they see it as it's horrible, but they know it will get good. The guys that were born into it being brilliant don't know anything else, so they're kind of a different standing. I'm in that kind of space of, I remember the late 80s. So I remember when we weren't a good team. I remember people laugh. I remember picking Man United as my team and being laughed at. I remember my dad and his friends laughing. "You sure you want to be a Man United fan?" I remember it because they weren't winning anything back then. So I do think there is that element that you have in there. But for Spurs, what's strange is you've kind of got to be my dad's age, 70 years old, to actually remember them being a successful team of the highest degree, winning league titles and doubles. Was that the 50s you did that? 60s? 61. So my dad was 6 years old. You've got to be about 65. You've got to be around 70 years old or older to remember Tottenham being the very best team in England. So what I don't get is I don't get the 21-year-olds who talk about Tottenham like they're Real Madrid, like they're Liverpool, like they're peak Man City. It does not resonate with me. And the new stadium plays a part. And I know they're trying to get there, and there's nothing wrong with trying to get there. But until you achieve it, Like you could have the ideals. I'm going to become a billionaire and I'm going to start my own car company and I'm going to become a billionaire. But whether you like him or loathe him, you can't start acting like Elon Musk until you've got the bank account because you'll get cancelled. Like Elon Musk can do what he wants because you can't cancel someone that rich, right? Love him or loathe him. We're not going to get into that debate. You can't start acting like that until you get to that point. And I feel like Spurs sometimes there's a London saying, you know, fake it till you make it. That works on a small scale. You know, you might be a struggling businessman, but you know, I'm going to hire that car and I'm going to buy that nice new jacket because when I turn up to the meeting, it looks like I'm prosperous. That can get you through a few meetings. That can get you through a few doors. It doesn't work as a fan when you have almost no control over what the club does, if that makes sense. And I think you'd feel better. I do agree with Wolfie. Spurs fans would feel better about their team if they accepted where they were and how long it will take to get to that level. So not accepting that you have to stay there, but it's the same with me as United. I know where we are and I'm accepting of it. I know where I want to get to. I also understand it's going to take us years. We could sack Amram tomorrow, change manager and system to do what Arsenal were doing, to do what City did for the last 7 or 8 years, to get back to us winning titles. It's 4 or 5 years away. Legitimately, it takes a long time. I'm aware of that. But until you recognize what you really are and how long it's going to take to get to the top, you're just always going to be angry. Always angry.
It's what I said to you, Terry, us getting to the Champions League final is what has caused us this. Well, not us, because I'm not including myself in the bracket of those idiots that think we're something we're not. But a lot of the youngsters
Go on, name them. No, don't. Start a beef. We'll start an online beef. Be a beef.
They don't come on anymore anyway. They don't come on anymore, Terry. They were the children that were saying we were going to win the league a couple of years ago. But do you know what I mean? That they think we got to the Champions League final and that's where we should be every season. But we're a million miles away. And this is what I try and tell them. It's not nice, but it's the sooner you accept it, the less it hurts.
Kate, you bang on. If I hear another Spurs fan tell me about how good they were to lose the Champions League final again, it's just crazy. It's just that's the mentality of we were so amazing, but you lost. It's like we're
Wolfie. I was outside that stadium with Neeks. Doesn't really come on much anymore, but Neeks, legend in the YouTube space, and Adam Charles, one of the first guests we ever had on the terrace, good friend of mine. And we were outside the stadium and we did like a preview for the final. And then we just started, we weren't recording this, it was just talking to Spurs fans. Oh, you excited, you excited, you excited. I would say we spoke to 13, 14 people. And how badly do you want to win? Every answer was practically the same. It was just so happy to be there. And we all just walked away again. They've lost the final. You could just, there was a fundamental difference. But then equally, they had that attitude going into a final, but then talk with this level of superiority and entitlement. That's what I mean. There's this dysmorphia. They don't know what they are. Like 1 minute, they think they're a wolf. No pun intended. The next minute, they're going, bah, they're sheep. They don't know what they are. I've got to use that example. I can't use the more colloquial example.
Jekyll and Hyde thing, Terry.
Yeah, they're Jekyll and Hyde. You know what I mean? They don't know what bathroom to go in. I'm going too far now. We'll get in trouble. We'll get taken down. We'll get taken down. Spurs with big 6 dysmorphia. Chelsea with big 3 dysmorphia. Well, we know who the big 3 in England are. Man United, Liverpool in it. We'll debate the rest. I wonder when Arteta will actually get respect. We'll come back to this one in a minute when we're talking Arsenal. By the way, I've got to speak to you, Curtis. That was my daughter that was in here, not my son. How does my daughter look like a boy with her long blonde hair? What are we doing here?
Oh, you could see the little girl. She was beautiful. I wouldn't have said she was yours, Terry, because she's beautiful. But, you know, it is what it is.
Gets it from my mother.
Obviously.
Probably. Although my son is more like his mother and my daughter is more like me. It's kind of nice, but weird. Seeing like a girl version. I got those sisters, so like seeing a girl version of me is kind of cool. Thanks, Maresca, for the World Cup. Now fuck off. Sorry, it made me laugh. Now fuck off. We need an established manager to win anything serious, and Maresca isn't taking the smaller teams seriously. This has been a pattern for a long time. Ooh. We have a super chat that's a fiction or fact here, though. It says fiction or fact. The Liverpool loss is masking over how much better Arsenal are over the rest of the league, and the only reason any team has hope of a catch-up. What do you think of that, Seb?
I don't think so, because I think everyone even came off that game because that was during the period of Liverpool winning 5 games in a row, and it was just a spectacular free kick. I think just people don't have respect for Arsenal because we haven't done it yet. I think once we've done it, then people might be more inclined to think, yeah, it's over, because the first season, obviously, we were in that title race. We were, 7 points clear, and we still didn't win it. So I think even from an Arsenal fan point of view, I'm not going to speak. Anton speaks with, obviously, a lot of chest. I'm not going to speak as much chest as him because I want to see us do it. And then that Man City game did make me a little bit nervous, I'll be honest, because I know they conceded 4 goals, but my big criticism for City this year has been, they're not spreading the goals, they're far too reliant on Haaland. But the recent game weeks, Doku started scoring, Foden started scoring, they're spreading the goals a lot more, which to me makes it, I'm getting more nervous on that. But it's kind of Jekyll or Hyde with that situation because defensively, City are all over the place. So that's what their problem is. They're missing Rodri massively, but yeah, Arsenal's just not getting enough respect. But I think that's just because we haven't done it yet. So
yeah, and we'll come back to that a bit later because that touches on one of our questions. But I'm going to go to Kunle first on this one. This was all that. Remember, every week we put out a post on our community page for hot takes and for fictional fact statements. You guys can keep a lookout for it. You can post your comments, and we'll try and feature as many as we can on the shows. Kunle, fiction or facts? Bukayo Saka is clearly better than Estevao. And after being dragged off at halftime in back-to-back games, Chelsea fans need to drop the Estevao over Saka agenda.
I'm actually upset that this is even a question, honestly. Like that little kid Steve getting compared to Saka is actually one of the most disrespectful things I've seen in football this year. Like, it's actually crazy, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't watch Brazilian football, and I know half of the chat probably don't either. The Chelsea fans that claim he was doing this and doing that, and I don't know, so I'm not going to talk about that. He's been in Europe for 6 months. And that's what majority of us have really seen outside the Club World Cup. He's a very talented player and has a massive ceiling. And who knows, he could go on to do as good or way beyond the stuff that Saka's doing. But to call a guy after not even playing 20 games for Chelsea, not even playing 20 games in Europe, being compared to a winger that's been consistent for the last 4 or 5 seasons for club and country is super disrespectful and embarrassing. It just shows that, and Chelsea fans now shouldn't be upset at how we're talking about them now, because they're the ones that come with the wild expectations and wild praise for their players. So whatever they get in return, they deserve. So yeah, I think it's a joke. Definitely fiction. I mean, fact, sorry.
What are you saying about this, Wolfie? Because I'll give my opinion on it later, but I mean, there was a lot of this from Chelsea. There was a number of Chelsea fans. I kind of get the ability conversation, but saying he has more ability very quickly led to no. He is better now today than Bukayo Saka. Do you think that is over the top from Chelsea fans? Has it been put to bed now, or do you see where they're coming from?
No, I think it's over the top. I think he's only been here a minute. He's very talented. At Palmeiras, he was really cooking there. You could see there was talent. But this just goes again with the narrative of every fan base wants to build up their next prodigy coming through and start comparing him to the standard. And the fact that it's always Saka's name that is coming up, it answers the question. It's not like sometimes it's Saka and sometimes it's this right winger who's at Man City or whatever. It's always Saka. And the fact that Saka is the benchmark makes him the benchmark, as far as I'm concerned. And Saka's done it over years now. Saka's not even, how old is he now, Kunle? Mid-20s probably still?
Yeah, 24.
He's 24. He feels like he's been around forever. And that's just more credit in the bank for Saka. That's how good he is. Now, for me, Saka has been overused since he's come back from his injury. I think we're now starting to see the old Saka coming through, and it's crazy to use the word old and Saka. But there is levels and there's consistency. And Saka has the levels and he's been consistent as well. Will Estevao get to that stage? Probably. But why do we have to jump from 0 to 100 on every single player? Let him develop. Let his feet do the talking instead of the Chelsea fans' mouths do the talking, and let him develop. And if in 2 years' time, he's starting to look like that player and still being consistent, then continue. We see it too many times. Garnacho, he was one at Man U that was like, oh, look at him. He's played with Ronaldo. He's played with Messi internationally. He's the next second coming and what have you. And now, like, you couldn't give him away. He ended up at Chelsea, ironically enough. There's just so many examples we can go through.
He could be another Jordan Ibe. You never know.
Yeah, exactly, man. They're just so many overhyping goes on. It's like even with Anderson now, I'm seeing loads of overhyping on him. He is that good, but again, let him develop.
You've overhyped him, Wolfie. Don't try it.
Yeah, I just don't want him sold, man. So I'll underhype him, right? But just let them develop. Let them. Why add more pressure onto players who've already got pressure as soon as they cross the white line? The Chelsea fans are making it harder for him because what they're doing is giving us opportunity to create a target on his back. Every time he has a bad game, every time he's hooked, of course we're going to be all over it. And we're talking about a kid. The Chelsea fans could end up letting opposition fans crush him before he's even had a chance to develop.
Quest, anything to say?
I didn't know it was my time. I never speak before my time.
Bro.
Oh, sorry, I should have controlled it. Sorry.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Terry's show. I'm not going to let you take over, Kunle.
Sorry.
Go on. I don't mind a bit of delegation. I'm a good leader like that.
Yeah,
hey.
for it, man.
No, to be fair, yeah, I think it's absolutely fact that Saka's better. Absolutely. And I don't think I've ever said anything different. So I wouldn't come on here and say anything different now. I did do journalism at uni, and I do know that slander is when you say something that somebody said that they didn't say. And I do know in the summer that there was a clip posted of me saying that Saka was better when I didn't. What I actually said was the ability is a lot closer than you think. And then it was captioned as who would you rather want in your team? So I always know that questions like this are going to be reframed in such a way that Chelsea will be slandered, but that's okay because that's who we are. Now the victim stuff is over, right? Let's be honest. Yeah, no, listen, Saka's phenomenal, and I've got so much time for Saka, right? Because he is top. I actually remember thinking about 2 or 3 years ago, the thing that is going to hamper Saka's career is that he won't move. And that's just my theory behind Saka's ceiling, is he will never get to that level that I think Yamal is at now. Like, he will never be considered in that bracket, which is really unfair for Saka. Because actually, what he does for Arsenal is actually phenomenal. Like, he is Arsenal's best player. Outside, I guess you could argue Declan Rice, but I still think that's a little bit unfair because Saka's moved from left back to right wing. So I have to put absolute respect on Saka. Like, I think Saka is a genius. I do also know that his first assist was against Chelsea, and that was his first one in a year. But I'm not petty, so I'm not going to bring that. Oh, wait, too late. But Saka's decent, man. Saka's decent. What I will say about Estevao, though, is, again, what is always my criticism with the way that I think these things are handled is 2 or 3 weeks ago. What was it? 2 weeks ago when we played Barcelona, when he absolutely danced through those 2 centre-backs and slapped it in the top of the goal. All the narratives then were, wow, Estevao's amazing. This kid could really be something. All of a sudden, he has 2 games back-to-back. Now, we'll say back-to-back stinkers. Now, do I blame him for those stinkers? Partially, yes. The other half, no, because you need your manager to manage you. And Maresca has managed him badly in the last 2 weeks. You don't start him against Arsenal. You don't start him against Leeds. You start Neto because he's your senior, most consistent winger, and you bring Estevao into games. I've been consistent on that since the very beginning. And I knew that what would happen is some Chelsea fans would start getting giddy, start twerking for him, and then asking for this guy to play every week. And then you're going to get what you get now. Whereas when he's not performing at 18 years old, you're going to be saying, get this guy out of the club. It's silly, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. But again,
that is a result of you guys, not you, obviously. Well, you did kind of sprinkle. You did sprinkle. No. Because now I understand, as your journalist, the language you used on that particular stream. I now understand it. But
I don't think it's anything to do with hyping it up. And I'll tell you why it's not.
It is because a lot of your fan base was putting him in conversations you shouldn't be in. Why aren't you starting him more? And he's Maresca's a young, inexperienced manager, so maybe he started listening to what people were saying. Maybe.
But earlier, Kunle, we talked about Chelsea not having context. It was excuses. So I listened to that little bit where Terry was saying that it feels like there's always an excuse for Chelsea as to why they're not. So I'm not going to say Maresca's an inexperienced manager and therefore he doesn't understand. He does understand. I think he's made a mistake. And so I will be compassionate towards him that he's made a mistake, but he's made a mistake. Here's the thing. I can't say it's down to what we're talking about. Because at the end of the day, yes, these things filter into, I'm sure they filter in, but the best players know how to throw that off. I don't know if I've ever seen Yamal look like he's flustered by what the media says about him. I don't think I've ever seen Mbappe flustered about what the media says about him. I would even go as far as saying when I said Declan Rice could win a Ballon d'Or in summer and everybody laughed at me then, it didn't affect how he's played this season. And I would go as far as to say I was absolutely right about that. And if Arsenal go on to win the league, win the Champions League and win a World Cup, which is incredibly difficult to do, Declan Rice absolutely could win a World Cup. Now, do I think he's better than Caicedo? Absolutely not. But I think he would absolutely, I think he could win the Ballon d'Or. And I think it'd be justified because I think he's wicked. In the same way with Saka, I think you have to say, yes, Saka is better, of course. Natural ability. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I said that or if that was the question that was posed to us. Because I don't think the phrase natural ability ever came out of my mouth.
I think maybe maybe the
closer than you think.
But maybe the way the conversation went is like, okay, so you're saying sometimes these things happen where the conversation happens, and then I might have said, so what you're saying on natural ability, he's better, and you might have said yes, it's probably along those lines. But I do have recollection of you saying that he is better on ability. I remember you saying something along.
But I think that was because of the question that we were asked. Because there was one stream where
I'm not blaming the question.
No, hold on. What I'm saying is,
decide to say what you said.
Are you hungry? Yes, I am. Your wife's like, why'd you eat when you were out? Well, I wasn't hungry, but Terry asked a question. They just say no.
What I'm trying to say is, if the question that was posed to us on the stream was, do you think Estevao has more natural ability than Saka? And then we go on to discuss whether we think that is possible or not coming to a conclusion, by the way. Because Terry was like, can you explain it? And we said we couldn't explain it. So we all backtracked.
But you said yes, maybe. And then you asked me to explain it. You couldn't explain after the yes. You agreed first.
My stance is on the internet. You can go and find it there. My stance has always been that. Don't tell me no. If you ask me something and I answer
and you agreed, and then you couldn't explain it, that's your bad. But you agreed initially.
Well, listen, my stance has always been that conversation on ability is far closer than you think. So is Saka better? Yes. Should Saka be better? Yes, he's 6 or 7 years older. Do I think Estevao will get to that level? Absolutely, I think he'll get to that level. Is he there now? No. And my thing was always, when you watch Estevao, you will get it. And then for the next 3 weeks after that, you lot all understood exactly what I was talking about. So don't try and sit here now, act like I was saying I wasn't saying something that I was. You get me? I was right. Right. He's phenomenal, and that's it. But he's just not at that level.
What are you saying, Seb?
I remember that debate because the debate was largely between us two. But my point was, when the question was, has he more natural ability? And I was going, so what natural ability is he better at than Saka? What is at the crux of the question? Because it was, you can't just go, he has more natural ability and then not explain what that natural ability is. Two, it shouldn't have even been a conversation in the first place. I know you're asking people what the conversation is. He's far too young. Chelsea fans put him up there where he shouldn't have been put up. You should be defending the player, and Maresca should take some responsibility of putting him in that spotlight in the first place.
No, he's not too young, Seb.
Yeah, it is, because you get him compared to Yamal, but Yamal's not the example that it should be. Yamal's the exception.
Yamal's better than Saka now.
He's the exception. Yeah, but he's the exception of the rule. He's not
better than Saka now, right?
Well, yes, but he's not the...
so he's not too young.
Yes, he is. But when you average it out, he is too young.
He's better than Saka.
Estevão, it's very rare for a player to be that good when they're that young. Most players, when they're that young, are extremely raw, and you should not be expecting world-class performances from an 18-year-old. It's unfair on them. But that's what Chelsea fans were doing when they compared him to Saka. You're expecting, because Saka puts out world-class performances. If you're comparing a player to a world-class player, you should be expecting world-class performances, which is wrong for an 18-year-old. Chelsea fans need to take some responsibility on this. I'm not just saying it's you, it's mainly Don, because they're saying they're putting him up there. It was Chelsea fans that put him there. No one else did. So the conversation should have happened in the first place.
If you observe something, should you deny it just because you think other people will disagree with it?
No, but should you wait to see the consistency of it?
No. But answer the first question. Should you do that?
I don't. What you?
Ask the question again.
If you see something with your own eyes, should you deny it just because other people would disagree with it?
It depends on the situation.
Depends.
It can be blown up.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. I tried a new omelette recipe yesterday, and it come out really well. I wouldn't be confident though making that for 4 or 5 people around my house because I don't feel like I've mastered it yet. So I'd wait to make that dish more consistently before I turn around and start showing it off to people.
Right? Yeah, but that's skill within your control, right? That's within your control.
My house is enjoying that one.
No, that is a great analogy, but that's within your realm of control.
Okay,
Estevão's performances are not within our realm of control.
This is where I would relate it to that example. I would say this: I agree there is ability, and nobody on this panel has said that Estevão doesn't have high degrees of ability. You can see it in him. But I also think that went from a conversation about how good his ability is that he could, and I've done it before where I've gone, this guy could get to the very top of the game. But that's a different claim about an 18-year-old. What it then morphed into was he is better than, and then the stats from Data MB coming out. I mean, in fact, but what's crazy? This is why I thought it was disingenuous. Like this, I saw these stats today on Squawker. This is their seasons so far on most of the attributes that you would look at for wingers. He has got a few over Saka. Like he scored a winning goal, which Saka hasn't done. A winning goal is constituted if they're drawing and you score the goal. And their passing accuracy is better by about 6%, 7%. Every other area, Bukayo Saka is winning in. And so what I found that was disingenuous is it went away from the ability, or to Seb's point, which abilities he has that are naturally more gifted than Saka's. And it morphed into a conversation of he is a better player already, which I thought was disrespectful to Saka, but I actually think can be detrimental to young Estevão, because I don't know what happens with Limar, what happens in Spain. I don't know. I don't follow the media. I don't follow the trends. What happens here is that rivals will then turn on the young man because they want to trip him up, and that's what I noticed that happening already. And I look at it this way: maybe it doesn't go on socials, won't see it, it won't impact him whatsoever, but it potentially could. I think the most important thing that Chelsea fans can do is push him to keep working hard, to keep his feet on the ground, and to be as humble as he can be. Because for as talented as he has done less in the English game than his Brazilian teammate Antony. He's done less in England so far than Antony did for Manchester United. He hasn't won any trophies yet.
Why are we talking about trophies though? We can't bring that in.
Yes, of course we can bring that in. He hasn't done.
So why are we even rating Saka then?
Well, because but let me finish what I'm about to say.
Saka's won a trophy.
Saka has won an FA Cup. He hasn't won any trophies. But if you let me finish, you'll understand. He hasn't won any trophies. He hasn't been in any title races. He scored a fantastic goal, in the Champions League, and he scored an excellent winner against Liverpool, and that's there. But there needs to be so much more done in the league, in title races, consistency, avoiding injury, lasting 3 or 4 years in the toughest, hardest league in the world, and winning trophies, and then more than what Saka has done before he should even be put into that conversation, in my opinion. It's all too early. And the annoying part is, I think both players are fantastic at different stages of their careers, and I feel like we should be enjoying them both. And we can have a really intellectual, honest conversation about the brilliant talent that's Estevão without trying to use him as a stick to beat Bukayo Saka over the head with. What I don't understand is why we're losing that ability. And I don't think you do this, Quest, by the way. I'm going to be very clear. This isn't aimed at you. I want to know why we're losing that ability to just go, I really rate Brian and Mbeumo at Man United. What I don't need to do is go, and he's clear of that Wasmo Salah now. It's just, for me, I don't need to say that. I can just praise how good Mbeumo has been. And I feel that comparing Estevão to Bukayo Saka is, a big hole's been dug, and they haven't got a big enough shovel yet, and they're in trouble there.
And the problem with that, Terry, is if Chelsea fans came out and said, this Estevão kid that we've signed from Palmeiras has started off really well. He looks like a real talent, and stop there. Who's going to argue with them? Who's going to argue with them? You're just going to agree with them, say, you know
people,
what?
People always argue, bro. Come on, man. You know this. People always argue. Come on, man. You know people do this.
All right, but on what grounds?
Hold on, because you're asking also, yeah, and it's not me. Terry's been said it clearly. This ain't me that does this. But I also want to say they're complicit in this. Because in the summer, I didn't say this, and they captioned it a certain way. So I'm re-referencing that. But the other thing is this. Everyone gasses their players. Everybody gasses their players. We heard in the summer how good Max Diamond was, and he's 15. So everybody does this, right?
Agreed.
Everybody does this. So what I'm saying to you is, but you're asking Chelsea to be humble about something they've seen with their own eyes. So I'm not surprised that Chelsea fans said this about Estevão. I do think some people went too far.
You agree?
They shouldn't have been calling for starts. They shouldn't have been saying he's our best player and all this. They shouldn't have been setting it way too far. I've always said you've got to manage these players. But at the same time, I can't ask certain Chelsea fans to deny what they've seen. You've seen a generational type talent play this game.
That
is true.
Can you push back against Chelsea fans who believe they've seen a player that is already superior in ability and delivery to Bukayo Saka?
Superior is insane in my opinion if you're talking about the Prem. 100%, because you have to give credence. And I've said this over and over again. You have to give credence to the work he's done. Saka, I actually don't think Saka gets enough praise. I'll be honest with you, for what he actually does. But at the same time, and I saw us go a little bit there, there's certain caveats where you go, well, if you argue it this way, he gets discredited probably a lot less than he should. Because then if you talk about trophies, it's long. But I don't do that with Saka because I think he's still top quality. I just think the conversation should be about ability. And I do think Estevao's actual natural ability in terms of what he can do with the ball on the pitch is a lot closer than people think it is.
You know what I don't like about...
I wouldn't move.
I didn't mean to interject right at the end there.
No.
What I think about the ability argument, it's like judging the quality of a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a wife, or a husband based on their good looks. You could be a stunning looking man, but a horrible boyfriend and a disgraceful husband. You could be a little bit of a fugly geezer, but be the most loveliest, loyal, hardworking boyfriend and husband. And I look at footballers in a very similar way. Your ability is one thing, but how do you deliver in matches? How do you handle adversity? How do you handle a setback? How available are you in terms of injuries? Can your ability get you to the very top? And then do you have the work rate to work at that when things get hard? A lot of things you need to do for marriage to survive. Estevão has the ability to get to that point. But what I can't judge him against is when I look at the consistency and the growth of Saka over 5 years, I just can't say Estevão's better. He hasn't gone through that adversity. He hasn't gone through the turmoil, the bad seasons with a football club, the good moments, the growth. You just can't say he's better because he hasn't done it yet. You know, we can see a young 18-year-old boxer get in the ring and look like, oh my God, he's got more. You might hear a trainer like someone like Teddy Atlas go, he's got more ability than I saw in Mike Tyson at that age. That could be a true claim. That isn't the same as saying he's better than Mike Tyson. It's an ability element. And I think sometimes we as a footballing community have just gone too far with Estevão in terms of what he actually is as in finished article at this particular moment. And then you get to the legacy conversation, which is trophy based. Sorry, Wolfie.
I was going to say, we're letting what Quest just said slide then, because he used the G word. Generational.
He is. He was that before he came to Chelsea.
Bro, you said all the Chelsea fans are moving mad. You didn't say this, and now you're bringing the generational word.
Don't be upset because you never had one, bro. He was that before he came to Chelsea. Ask what they were calling him in Brazil.
So what's generational about him?
Yeah, but when did what they were calling him in Brazil count when he came to Europe? I don't understand.
No, don't do that because it was the same thing with Neymar. When Neymar was out there, we was all watching clips in 20.
The same Neymar that got nominated for a Ballon d'Or in Brazil. That guy.
The Brazilians also said that, and the Brazilians also said that Man United.
You're moving the goalpost.
Listen, I think he's very, very good. I don't mind him being put in a generational talent and prospect section. I'm fine with that. But I also remember the Brazilians saying that Anderson, who Man United signed in 2008, was the new Ronaldinho. They did say that as well.
So I'm not saying
that man.
Do you understand what generational means? You didn't say generational time.
It means
it's a generational. You are saying we will not see a player like him in generations. Yet you've got your Mal.
I see what you're doing
right here. Like, how can you be more generational?
I see what you're doing. At his age, to be doing what he's already done in the league he came from, and to come to a Chelsea team.
What did Yamal do at 16?
I don't know, because I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Estevão. So I'm talking about what Estevão did in Brazil to come here now when Chelsea is in one of their worst periods as a football club to even be able to perform the way he's. Yes, we are. Let's not. Whoa. Yes, you lot. This is what kills me. You lot.
You've been Chelsea for 15 years.
This is nuts. For the last hour, you've been saying how inconsistent we've been. This is genuinely one of our worst periods as a football club. Of course it is. Look at the money we've spent.
Won 2 trophies. I don't know what you're talking about.
So why are you saying I should not gas up my club for finishing 4th and winning 2 trophies? But now
I said you should be challenging for the title, bro.
You lot are something else. This is this is what I mean. Listen, if you're a Chelsea fan, you should just understand what time it is, bro. No one's ever gonna give the same credence or the same type of. It's not gonna happen because you Arsenal fans, the fact that you even have chest at all is insanity.
Chest. Where's the chest?
Insanity.
Don't let that comment in the comment section deceive you. There's no chest here.
Estevão's in a team. Estevão's in a team where the manager's in his 2nd season, playing Champions League football for the first time in his 2nd ever full-time job. Right. So we're not comparing him even to, by the way, Arteta, who we give a lot of respect to and due because of what he's created at Arsenal right now, who is in his 6th season at a stable club. Everyone understands, bro. So you can't then turn around and say, "Oh, Estevão's what are you talking about? He's not in a tough environment."
What was it that he did in Brazil that made him generational?
Bro, just ask about him.
No,
Man was 16 in a title inside.
You can only go by the quotes on
16 in a title winning.
What did he do?
In the first team at 16 on a right wing, people were saying if he's not scoring, the team has a problem.
What were you saying?
They were calling him Messinho coming out of Brazil.
He played 43 games and scored 13 goals.
Okay, at 16. At 16.
Okay, what did Yamal do?
And it's not just about the number of goals. It's not just about the number of goals. It's when. Because if you do that same thing, Saka's played 200 and what games and only scored 57, and it's ended up in no trophies.
What did
watch your mouth when you talk about my Brazilian star, Watch your mouth.
What did Yamal do?
Don't be upset.
Why are you avoiding this question? I don't know because I didn't watch La Liga, bro.
Okay,
I'm not even asking what Yamal did at La Liga. What did he do on the world stage?
I don't know.
How do you not know what he did?
I don't know. I'm waiting for you to tell me. I don't know.
Yamal was the best player at the Euros at 16.
Okay, congratulations. I rate that.
So do you understand? Again, I'll ask you again. Do you understand what generational means? Do you understand what generational means?
No. Wait. No, wait. Because you're not going to trap yourselves. So are we rating him because he won it?
No, because he was influential in winning it.
So what would we say if he didn't win it?
What do you mean? So what we would say if Yamal at 16 didn't play well, didn't score goals and
no. I didn't ask you that, Terry. I didn't ask you if he didn't play well. I said what if he played well? He didn't win.
I'm gonna finish answering
it.
I'm gonna give you an even deeper answer that covers all bases. If he hadn't played well, if he didn't deliver really important moments, assists, creativity, and wasn't a pivotal role in them winning it, there'd be less people saying he's a generational talent. It's because of what he actually did at 16, coupled with the ability, is why he gets. And I remember saying it. I was out in Germany at the time at the Euros, and I was saying, look, I weren't alive for it. Pele to this day gets so much respect for what he did at 17, 18. I was like, this kid's doing it a year younger. It's phenomenal. It's almost, I think what Yamal did in terms of his performances at a major international tournament, his delivery, his influence and winning it. I think it's the first time a player of that age has ever done it. Forget generational, it's never been done before. Any generation.
Historical.
Yeah.
Chris, I really liked you. But you know, when you sign up to be a Chelsea fan, do you have to do a degree in talking shit for 10 minutes and still not get into the game?
I don't know. You tell me, Kate.
Because you're trying to bring down a player you held up for like 10 minutes.
And it's just waffle, and then a couple of little points in there, and then more waffle. And I'm just.
I don't understand what was waffle about what I said.
Well, you're waffling on about that you've
So
seen.
tell
this
me what?
guy.
Yeah, but
I mean,
what was waffle about what I said?
But in Brazil, they think Richarlison is the best thing since sliced bread.
No, they weren't calling. They weren't calling Richarlison R9.
Spurs fans were.
Right? I'm talking about Brazil. Brazil are going into tournaments now, saying if he's not playing, our chances are low.
Do you think the Brazil team is the same as it was in
Brazil is
2000?
shit now. That's why, bro. What are you talking about?
Don't try it. Don't try to act like Brazil are whack, bro. Don't
They
try
are,
it.
though.
Really?
They are. They've not
They're
recovered.
Wait, you need to watch a bit more football outside the Premier League.
So Brazil are whack. Gabriel Magalhães, yeah? Marquinhos, who just won the Champions League.
No.
Also, because they got a couple good players, that means they're good now.
Yeah.
But that isn't
Liverpool are good right now. Aren't they?
That means Nigeria are good. They got Victor Osimhen.
Yeah. What I mean, listen, we can all agree. We could all agree that this Brazil squad, I think, is a shadow of what we used to see 15, 20, 25 years ago. It is nowhere. I remember watching the World Cup in 02 and 06 when I was a little bit older, so memories more there, and France in 98, where the lineup would come out and the camera would pan across, and you just sit there and go, "Oh my god!" You don't do that anymore. When you see Richarlison leaving the line, you go, "Got a chance here, got a chance."
I hear that, but remember, Martinelli plays for Arsenal. Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Gabriel, Marquinhos.
Wait, I got a question. Hold on.
These are your players.
Yeah, and half of them don't start for Arsenal.
Okay, in the Brazil team that was good, did you ever see players in the Brazil team that was good? Did you ever see players from Wolves and Fulham in them?
To be honest with you,
Yes or no. I don't want to be honest.
I've only seen one. I've only seen one good Brazil team, so I don't know.
Well, you're saying a lot about when it comes to talking about
hold on, is it the current one?
No.
Okay, so that's what we were saying. Brazil is shit right now, and you've just confirmed it because you've only seen one good one, right?
The quality of their players.
You said you've only seen one good one, but they're not shit.
So if I say Brazil are what, then I'm saying Gabriel and Martinelli.
If that's what you want it to mean, then cool.
What do you mean? That's what you want it to mean.
Quez, can you have a crap team with good players in it?
Loud.
Well, Nottingham Forest exists. So yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but
So there you go.
I'm not.
But Brazil
I'm
can't.
not saying that.
Chelsea are rubbish.
He said, I went, say it for me. He went, no. He said that somebody might support Chelsea and get upset and get sad. I was like, oh, it's all right.
You're a good man.
But hang on, I don't go, so I bribed him. I said, I'd buy him a new toy, and he did it. Like, he weren't that bothered.
I like it. Negotiated. I like it.
Look what you've done, Kunle. Look at the chat. People are saying I'm comparing Martinelli to Rivaldo. My God, you just look what you've done.
You did.
You did this. I'm the Arsenal fan, but you brought Martinelli into the discussion.
No, bro. I just said if you're saying that team is rubbish, you're saying all the players are rubbish.
Okay, do you think Forest players should get into the Brazil squad?
If they're decent.
What do you think?
Where's Murillo from? I like him. Yeah, I like him. I think he should be in the Brazil squad.
Yeah, do you think Forest should be able to have 3 players in the Brazil squad?
Depends if they're good. Have you got 3 good Brazilian players?
We got about 6, bro.
Who? Name them.
No, the fact that you used to name them, you know they're not good.
No, but name them because sometimes you're not in the squad.
Murato, Murillo, John
Murillo,
Victor,
yes. No,
John
never heard of these.
Cunha, and Douglas Luiz.
Douglas Luiz might get a little bring in as a sub. Yeah, I can hear that.
I would have an argument, right? I don't know if there's a what Brazilian player what first comes to the top of your head would get in the World Cup squad for 98 or 02 or 06. What one just stands out right now would definitely be in the squad?
What right now? Vinicius probably.
Nope.
Vinicius, I'd put Vinicius in the squad or the first 11. Come on, guys.
Vinny Jr.
In the squad.
Oh, in the squads. Okay, in the squad, yeah.
This recency bias is crazy. Vinicius Jr. was ripping the entire world apart for a good 2-3 seasons. But now,
Alisson in goal. Alisson in goal is a good shout.
For sure. But let's not act like Vinicius wasn't tearing teams up, guys.
The point is though, we're probably looking at 2, maybe 3 max in the squad. That shows you the difference in levels of quality. Because if you ask that same question now, this current like England squad to all those years ago, forget the name of the talent in terms of how good the team were. I'm taking most of these boys over the golden generation, and a lot of them were United boys. Guys, I'm going to jump into the super chats here. This one here says generational stinker from Quest tonight. It's from Rob Ladd.
Hey, I know Rob don't like me because I cooked him that last time we was on stream. I love you, Rob, bro.
Everybody wants props for seeing the talent before everybody else. That's why they compare these young players to some of the greats, which is just crazy.
Is he saying that Saka's a great? Mad.
Saka is world class. That doesn't mean you dislike your own players. Be a football fan and be honest. I like that.
That's fair.
Talking to you, Chris, if you didn't know.
Yeah, Jay, thank you.
I didn't know.
Don said Max Dowman has more natural ability than Saka. I think Saka's natural ability is disrespected because he broke out as a left back. Listen, natural ability is it's so subjective because it's based on aesthetics. And I keep saying I think these individuals have got to stop watching football and watch Strictly Come Dancing, because that's literally dancing is aesthetics and football isn't. You know, Sancho, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Hutchinson, Estevao, Diallo, Foden, Palmer, Anthony, Garnacho, Gordon, all at a point were said to be better than Saka, and he rose every time. This is true. I remember.
But I'm saying, are you not? So where's the Foden in this debate? I'd love to know where people think that in the debate of Foden and Saka. Where do people put Foden in that?
They don't play in the same.
Saka's better.
Honestly, I believe.
I thought it was rhetorical. Sorry, I thought it was rhetorical. Sorry, my bad.
No, I think Foden's better than Saka. He had one off season last season, but as an overall player, I think
I have Foden above him as well, career-wise. Yeah.
I thought it was unanimous that people thought Saka was way past.
I don't think Saka's world class.
And Foden for me is delivered in title races. He's been phenomenal, and I personally hold people that help deliver trophies and are influential in them to a higher degree. So if Saka maintains his performances this year, does well in the title race if there is one, and goes on to win a Prem, he moves into that next echelon of player.
Oh, okay.
I'm consistent with that.
So, Quest, would you say it's a fairer question to compare Saka and Foden or Saka and Estevão?
No, but I wouldn't have compared Foden and Saka because I don't think they play the same position anyway.
I agree.
I did answer it, Kunle, man. What's wrong with you, bro?
Wait, Wolfie, sorry, Wolfie. Repeat the question again so we can see. We'll repeat the question. Sorry.
Okay.
Wolfie.
So to clarify, is it fairer to compare Foden and Saka or Saka and Estevão, who, by the way, you said is generational? Let's not forget that point.
Then I think based on my logic, it's fairer to compare Saka and Estevão because they play the same position.
Okay. So sometimes a Quest, I think we've got to do a Scooby-Doo thing. Is there a mask under there? Is that really Don? Is that Don wearing a mask? Is that Don wearing a Quest mask? I don't know.
It is the thing, Terry. If you scratch hard enough for any Chelsea fan, the same narrative is always underneath. You know.
Yeah, man. Winners.
This is purely a Chelsea fan. They compare Estevao to Saka and Yamal and get upset when rivals clap back. Let the kid be a kid. No one denies his talent. I think, Tony, I think you've rounded up what is now a 40-minute segment perfectly in that super chat. I'm going to move on to the final fiction or fact question for the night. And this is, and I'm going to go to Seb first on this, and it's fiction or fact. Arsenal are clear favourites for the title. Only a massive collapse from them can stop it. Neither Chelsea or Man City can stand in their way.
Well, I'll get to talk now. I couldn't get a word in edgeways on that last one. That was mental. But I think the fact that I think it's true. I think if Arsenal lose this title, we've lost it to ourselves because we've been by far the most consistent side in the league. We have the best squad depth in the league as well. Even having the amount of injuries we've had, and we've managed to cope perfectly well. The transfer window over the summer, it didn't necessarily raise our ceiling that much higher because our starting lineup last year was good enough to win the league. It was when we got injuries, we started to drop off. But even with the injuries now, that summer transfer window has raised our floor up to a point where it's been perfectly fine when we have had injuries. The only game that you really saw it was in the Chelsea game because Chelsea were very intense right from the off. But I was very happy to see the resting of players on the weekend, against Brentford. because just a lot of the players do get run into the ground, especially when Saka. So I was very happy to see. The thing is, we have such a good squad depth, but I find at times Arteta doesn't like using it, where he will literally play Timber pretty much every game. So it was nice to see some changes in there. But if we are to fail, it will take something absolutely catastrophic, because I just don't see. It's not just us being good; it's everyone around us. The fact that people say the reason Arsenal win in the league is because Liverpool are rubbish and City are. That is partly true. It is, because if Man City and Liverpool maintain their levels, they would be up there with us and there would be a title race. So the fact that Liverpool have dropped off is a factor in us winning the league. It is a massive factor, because before the season started, everyone was expecting Liverpool to run away with the league. They haven't. But you still got to give credit to Arsenal, because even though these other teams have dropped off, we've still won our games. So, but I think, if we lose this title race, I think it'll be up to us, because I just don't see this City team winning 4 or 5 games in a row, and they're going to need to win this title race. The only team that's done it so far is Arsenal. Liverpool are out of it. Chelsea, I didn't think they were in the title race anyway. I think everyone was going a bit too far about that. But I think it is our year, and I'm the biggest Arteta inner ever. And if we don't win the league this year, especially from the position we are in, it's a failure, because we've got the best squad. We've already got a 5-point lead. It's getting near Christmas. So I think it is ours to lose this year. If anyone wants to disagree, you can disagree with me.
Go on, Kunle. You're dying to speak, you gooner. Go on.
All right, look. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys, yeah? Look, 5 points in December is not anybody's to lose. 5 points in December. How can you win a title that ends in 2026, in 2025? Are you guys listening to yourselves? With that being said, we're in a very good position. We're in a very good position. And I think I thought we were gonna win it at the start of the season. I'm gonna maintain that through the season. So that's why I'm saying it. But I'm not saying it's ours to lose. Are we the favorites? Yeah, of course we're the favorites. Of course we are. But I'm not hearing all this. This team has dropped off. That team has dropped. What's that even mean? Teams don't drop off. They just don't win the amount of games that they're supposed to. What does that mean that they've dropped off? No. It's like when people say that Leicester winning season was because everyone else dropped off. No, because Leicester won more games than the rest of the teams. That's why they won the league, and that's how it works for me personally. But I think definitely favorites to win the league. Like teams have been more than 5 points clear and not won the league, so I'm not ready to say it's ours to lose. But
your team has, you mean?
Not only our team, Newcastle, Liverpool. I can list a few, but we're the favorites. But it's still early days. We're still in 2025, so let's not get too carried away.
Are you nervous?
Who, me?
No, I'm just asking. Are you nervous?
Of course I am. Yes, of course.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Why are you nervous? You're 9 points ahead.
No, there's other teams in this league, by the way, not just Chelsea.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about Chelsea. I was thinking about Chelsea.
Man City,
you're 5 points clear, Kunle, man. Why are you not celebrating now? It's Christmas. It's an early present, man.
Because the parade is in 2026.
Yeah, but forget that, Kunle. Listen, life is about celebrating, being excited. 5 points ahead in December. City dropped off. Liverpool dropped off. Spurs nowhere to be seen. Chelsea in the mud. What? We should be planning the parade now. I'm just trying to put names in there. People that have won trophies. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, I am genuinely surprised though. Yeah, that there isn't a little bit more chest, because I think if Chelsea were ahead at this point by 5, I think I would be really confident, being like,
the difference. The difference is we've not won it for 21 years, so we're not at the point where we can be confident from just 5 points. If we'd won it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe you'd get a different answer from me. But I've seen us be top of the league and not do it. So I'm more confident now because of the amount of rotational players we have on the side and et cetera, et cetera. But it's not time. When it starts getting to March, that's when I can start relaxing and booking my tickets to London. Do you understand?
I'm genuinely confused by that, serious.
Doesn't watching City concede so many goals give you any more confidence at all? Because for me, when I watch City, I'm like, they don't look good enough to sustain enough victories to catch up.
Let me read these stats out to you, right? Because this is for me. I do hear your point. No one wins it in December, but I'm still saying fiction to the claim. But I'm at this point where I'm almost on fact, because it isn't just it's not winning it now, but these three things can change, of course, but then you've got to predict that they will. City are tracking towards conceding 43 goals this season. Chelsea are tracking towards conceding 38. Arsenal are tracking towards conceding just 19. Goals scored, City 86 because they got Haaland. Chelsea's 67. Arsenal 73 points. So if you look at the points per game so far this season, City are tracking towards 76, Chelsea towards 65, Arsenal towards 89 points. So I look at the performances. That's with your eyes. You look at who's being hurt the most. You look at XG being conceded, well in Arsenal's favour. Big chances being conceded, well in Arsenal's favour. Not only are you not conceding goals, you're conceding on average in the last 8 games, 1 shot on target per game in 9 matches. I can't ignore what my eyes see and the facts that back that up. That right now, I honestly think the only way a City or a Chelsea can win it is if you guys collapse and then don't get back to these levels. I think you've got to fall off quite dramatically to not win it. So I'm not disagreeing that can happen, but I don't think City or Chelsea will get that much better or that much more consistent this year. I think it will be about Arsenal completely falling off.
I think at some point, I think some points that if City are a certain amount of points off, they may end up focusing on Champions League. We may end up getting a similar season to the Liverpool win last year, because it got to a point in February where Arsenal were like, we ain't winning this. We started resting teams in the league, resting players in the league, and we were focusing on the Champions League. So I think some teams may end up doing that, especially if they're getting late into competitions. It's just, if this was City of a couple of years ago, even though we were 5 points clear, I'd still be scared, because you know that City can get that consistency up. Unless they can suddenly get Rodri back to full fitness, have him in there, and then suddenly Savinho turn into Mares, then yeah, I'll get scared. It did scare me a little bit when Man City did go 3-0 up, just because they were spreading the goals a lot, and Foden looks back to his best. Foden's been very good. But it's just their back line for me just gives me so much confidence, because I'm like, they could go and score 3 goals, but they could equally go and concede 3 goals. That's the way I look at it. And Liverpool I just don't even think it's in it. I think Liverpool fans have accepted they're not in it anymore. And for me, I didn't think Chelsea were going to be at the start of the year. So for me, it's ours to lose, just because of City dropping off.
I hear. Wolfie, what you were going to say something?
No, I disagree. I think it's fiction. I have Man City as favourites, if I'm being honest with you. And I can see them winning it. I think the gap from a Man City paradigm is not 5, it's 2. Because you still have to go to the Etihad and play them there late April. So they have to look at it and say, for us to win that league, we have to beat Arsenal. Therefore, they have to play like the gap is 2 points. 2 points is not a big gap. You need to be, for Arsenal, for me to be favourites, you got to be double digits ahead of them by mid to end of January. I've seen bigger deficits overturned later in the season. I've seen City do it against United. What was the gap to make you remember? 5 games to 8-point gap, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It isn't done till it's done. With all the stats and everything that you read there, Terry, I hear it, but Forest were 93.3% likely to get Champions League football last season with 5 games to go, and we saw how we crapped the bed on that. The stats will mean nothing until you get into the running, and I think Arsenal have too much PTSD in Arteta to get it over the line, and I think the gap won't be big enough. And you could go a step further. You could say City haven't been that great this season so far. They've dropped points against teams you wouldn't have expected them to drop points, and yet they're still within this quote-unquote 2-point gap. I think Arsenal have been fantastic. I didn't expect Arsenal to be where they were, and I think Arteta deserves credit for it. But get to the business end of the season before you start the trophy celebration. I agree with you. 2026 is when it's awarded. We saw Spurs lifting a trophy after 10 games 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And they just look stupid after that. So, just wait until 2026 to start celebrating.
So, Wolfie, I agree with the celebrating element. And I think that any kind of complacency, any sort of it's ours, it's over. If I was an Arsenal fan, if Man United were in that position, I wouldn't want to put that energy out there. I'd be like, stay focused, keep working hard. The only element of your theory that I push back against is I do think the amount of the goals a team concedes, the amount of chances they concede, and it's been the levels of chances and goals City are conceding has been consistent now for over 17 months. So from my point of view, I get your point. That if you come to April and there's 5-point gap and they beat Arsenal, it's 2 points. Anything can then happen. However, you look at the consistency of both teams in the even though Arsenal weren't at their best last year, but before April comes, there's a likelihood of that 5-point gap or that 2-point gap, as you would call it, is going to grow. Because if they keep conceding the goals they have, even if it's just the win percentage, if for the next 10 games the win percentage stays the same, Arsenal will pull again 2, 3, 4 points further forward. So my view is this still: City to win it, I think they need Arsenal to have a drop off from the level they're at for at least a 5 to 10 game period. Otherwise, that gap is going to become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, let me ask you this, Terry. I think Arsenal, you got Villa this weekend, haven't you? If I'm not mistaken. And traditionally, Villa have screwed you over a few times over the years.
They have.
Let's just say over the next 2 weeks, Man City level it or go ahead by a point or two. Do you think Arsenal can chase? Or do you think they have to be in the lead?
Well, I think what's interesting is I actually felt that they did do a better job. I had this conversation with Estevao about 2 seasons ago now. And I think it got to it was a bit later in the season, but it was the February, maybe a bit late, maybe the March. And I don't know who brought it up on the show. It might have been a super chat. And they said, do you think Arsenal in a better position to win the league this year than last year? And I said, this season. And Sava had a right pop at me saying, how can you be in a better position being at the time? I think they were a few points at the top, where the season before they were 5 points ahead. And I said, well, I actually think this Arsenal team feels at that particular moment will feel less pressure not being the leaders, with everybody saying it's yours to lose, you're the favourites. And they ended up much closer to winning it the year they were chasing rather than the year they were ahead, which sort of proved my theory. I don't. Well, the one thing I'd say about this team, though, this Arsenal team, is they feel more battle hardened, and I feel like the scar tissue is healed and it's made them stronger. I actually think they'll drop points this weekend to Aston Villa. I think it will be a draw. I'm going with 2-2, but I still look at it and I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll bounce back for that, and at some point soon they're going to go on a good winning run again. I look at this City team, and I haven't felt with Man City, and it's once in the last 15, 16 months that they're capable of winning 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 league games on the bounce, which I think you're going to have to do to stop this Arsenal team. But I also think a lot of teams will drop points how Arsenal may this weekend. I think going away to anyone who's currently sitting inside that top 10, 11 teams is going to drop points. If you're going away to Villas, Chelsea's, United's, Arsenal's, Cities, Palaces, there's more teams, Sunderland's, loads of people are going to drop points doing that, including Arsenal. But I just look at it nearly halfway through the season, and I just feel it's the defensive element for me as well. They just don't. It's the volume of chances they concede. Again, I'll go back to it. Of course, they can lose the title from here, Arsenal, but it means Arsenal's levels are going to have to drop massively from what we've seen in the opening 14 games, and I'm just not convinced that's going to happen. It could. I'm just not convinced it will.
I think you're overlooking 2 factors. I think Arsenal are going to go deep in the Champions League, which is going to add strain, and I think they'll have a good run in the FA Cup as well. There's going to be a lot of games piling up. And on top of that, the pressure is going to ramp up. I think the best way Arsenal win this is to run now. Get in the lead. Get into mid-Jan, double digits or near double digits.
12 points.
And remove Man City from the equation. If Man City have a sniff at it, Pep has never gone 2 seasons without winning a title. And I don't think he wants to start this year. Man City will just be relentless. We've seen it, apart from last year, year in, year out. After Jan, they go into this robot mode. They will string out W's in a row.
Okay, but Wolfie,
it's not the same City, but I do hear you.
Yeah,
it's the
on that
still
point,
Pep.
do you see this City team going 8, 9 games winning on the bounce?
Yeah.
Can you see them doing that?
Yeah, I can see them.
So the same team that you saw concede 6 goals in 2 games and make Samuel Chukwueze look like Robin 04-05 is going to be able to
score 5 goals. I saw them score 5 goals and go away with
Samuel Chukwueze. Do you know how we discussed that boy in this?
Yeah, but couldn't they? How many times in the last few seasons did you go to Craven Cottage and shit the bed? It's not an easy ground.
We were never ready to win the league then, though.
Yeah, exactly. So that means our City,
are now.
Craven Cottage is not an easy ground to go to.
But that's you know what? That's why I disagree with what Seb said earlier, though.
No, but that's different. They were 5-1 up and they conceded 4 goals. That's the difference. It's not like they won comfortably 2-0. They were 5-1 up and they still conceded that many goals. The thing is with City, their squad depth isn't the same anymore. You're making the point that when Arsenal go deep in the Champions League, we'll start to drop off in the league. You could say the same for City. They just don't have the squad depth to compete on both fronts. You saw what happened against Bayer Leverkusen. In 20 minutes, Haaland and Doku got more XG than the rest of the squad did in 70 minutes inside 20 minutes. City just don't have the squad to be competing on both of those at the same time. Whereas Arsenal, I think we do. We've said that already. We've had 6 injuries at one go, and our level hasn't dropped. This City team hasn't been the City team for about nearly a year and a half. We haven't seen any consistency from City for nearly 2 years. Like, it's just not the same team anymore. They just don't have the quality in there.
Can
we do a little experiment, right? And we'll just do a little experiment here. So these are City's next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 league games. Okay, so there are, and Wolfie, I'd just love to get your view on this, right? So home to Sunderland, how do you see that going for them?
I think they win it.
Okay, so so winning that one, away to Palace.
Tough game. Draw.
So that's one point. Home to West Ham, we're getting 3 points. Then they're away to Nottingham Forest.
L.
That's an easy 3.
L for who?
We beat him last season, man.
So you ain't the same.
0 points.
I'll compromise on a D there.
Okay, so 1 point.
What?
Then they're away to Sunderland.
They'll win that.
They'll win that. Then they're at home to Chelsea.
They'll win that.
They'll win that. Then they're at home to Brighton.
I think they struggle with that one. Draw.
Okay, draw. And then they're away to Manchester United.
They'll win that.
Okay. So they'll win that. So that will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8. That'll be 18 points. I think you've given them there in that time.
Okay.
In that same period, Arsenal go away to... So what do you think away to Villa will be for Arsenal?
Draw.
Home to Wolves.
Win. Away
to Everton.
Draw.
Home to Brighton.
Win.
Home to Aston Villa.
Draw.
Okay, again, draw there. Away to Bournemouth.
Win.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then they're home to Liverpool.
Oh, I hope they win that one. I could see it being a draw though.
Okay, we'll put it in draw. And then they're away to Nottingham Forest.
You drew with us last season. I'll go draw.
Okay. So that would be 1, 2, that would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So what your prediction is over the next 8 games is City get 18 points and Arsenal get 14.
You lot would love it, man. The content would be flowing. The content would be flowing.
I want a close title race. I mean, that would change it. That would still mean Arsenal have a 1 point lead, but
yeah,
that's an interesting one. There's a few though where I've got a lot of respect for you. There's a few where you did the I'll go for a draw. That noise tells me you think Arsenal would win it.
He just doesn't want issues in his household.
Well, they were against Forest, right? So I am going to be a little biased.
A child that supports Arsenal.
Okay. That's cool. Do you know what, Wolfie? I like the fact that at least you've come with an actual challenge that holds a bit of water and has got some substance to it. Most of the time, it's just things can change. Yeah, they can change, but break down how you think it will change. Most people don't have the balls to do it. I like it. And again, as I say, it could definitely go the other way this league. Let's do some super chats here. This one says, my only issue with conversations conversations around Arsenal is the assumption is that we have peaked already while we haven't really played our strongest 11 once. Look, I think it's the idea that Arsenal have peaked already is interesting because it was only 4 games ago people said there's not enough open play goals. Where are the goals going to come from? They've started happening. I think the idea they've peaked already, again, is just a disingenuous. They might have done. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's just okay, what can we complain? What's the next narrative against Arsenal? We'll go with they've peaked already. I think that's what it is. Wolfie, City still have Spurs away, bro.
True.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't win at home.
Different
Wait,
Spurs.
hold on. That's at the Tottenham ground.
Yeah, we can't win at home.
Come on, Thomas
and it's
Frank
Spurs without Son, isn't it?
Two games at home in 2025 across Brentford and Spurs. Like,
it's the Spurs way, man. It's the Spurs way.
I'm not biting. Crack on.
Just saying, man.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find something. I can't
wait,
find
Kate,
it.
on that one,
Go on.
would you throw it if it stopped Arsenal?
You have to.
If it had no bearing on my season, then hell fucking yes, I would.
Wow.
Every game has a bearing on your season.
Yeah, wow, man.
No, if it's
that's true.
10th and 11th, you don't.
That's money.
Imagine
money.
if you scored that goal, you would have had Champions League football last year.
Yeah, I didn't want to throw that. But if it had no bearing on my season, I don't want to.
I'm telling you, that's what Spurs need to do to fully come out of the shadow of Arsenal. Just do something for yourself. Forget about what the rest of
we won the Europa League last season.
True.
When you faced City, you had a chance to win and get in the Champions League. You picked Arsenal losing out on the league. That just shows you're a small club. If you'd won that game, it would be proof to me that you've turned the corner. You get me?
Yeah, I like someone in the comments says, Terry, why did you just accept what Wolfie said? You challenge other people. Because Wolfie said something. He gave a reason. I challenge people that make statements and don't back it up with some rationale or at the very least a prediction. So I give a lot of respect to the man. If he'd have gone, I just don't think Arsenal can do it. Why? I just think they'll collapse. Do you think City or Chelsea can overtake them? No, not really. I'd go, what the fuck's your opinion then? It doesn't make any sense. But he gave an opinion, so I'm not going to challenge it. I just wanted to understand him. It holds water. It's plausible. We move on. Have conversations. You'll see they end quite nicely. We increased the gap since the international break. This is actually true. Yeah, I mean, it has slightly increased in that time. And look, listen, I'm not going to speak for Wolfie, but if the next 8 games go by and Arsenal have increased that 5-point gap to an 8-point or a 9 or a 10-point gap, his opinion will probably change because the world will be different after 24 games and you've got that kind of lead. Arsenal rely too much on open play goals. It's unsustainable. Saka versus Foden. Who comes through for England? Yeah, I mean, Saka does the better job for England. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it. Gabriel, Magalhaes, and Alisson would make the old Brazil squad. I agree with Alisson, definitely. Gabriel. I don't remember the centre backs as much in that generation.
I was going to say that though. That when we were saying they were crap, I was trying to think what Lucio and
right back.
Who's the other one?
Carlos left back. You had the one
is
he
it
played.
Lucio? Am I going mad?
He played in Serie A.
They have Cesar Sempao or something.
That's what I'm saying. I'm swearing.
He played in Serie A.
I swear it's Lucio.
Lucio, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Lucio.
Who's the other one?
And it was somebody else.
And well, it shows you how great they were that you can't remember them. You know what I'm saying?
No, shit, mate. I don't ever pretend to be a. What was the name of that guy? He played for Milan.
Roque Jr. That was it. Yeah, it was Lucio and Roque Jr. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the thing is with that generation, although like people followed it, youngsters don't realize how hard it was to actually watch in the UK Italian football, Spanish. It wasn't available like it is. It wasn't watched like it is now. Like you youngsters have got it very easy. The access you guys get is crazy. Back in the day, like, I know everyone now, even though a lot of Premier League games are not shown on TV here still in the UK, it was a myth trying to get anything that wasn't on Sky 20 years ago. You weren't getting it. So yeah, there's a lot of it was just was crazy. I wonder when Arteta will actually get respect for his first ever season as a manager, getting 8th with the shit that he had and only a £75 million budget.
That's disrespectful, you know. That's disrespectful. Why do people act like Arteta had a rubbish squad? He had a Bamiyang. He had a Xhaka. No, we had I didn't finish. I only said
Yeah,
one.
No, you did finish. You didn't have anything else to say.
No. But the reason why I
no.
started with Aubameyang was because Aubameyang was not a rubbish striker. He's one of
was
Arsenal's
more-
players in the last 6 years.
To carry your argument, Quest. That's why you stopped.
No, but I was saying the entire squad.
Our
Aubameyang,
back line
Xhaka.
was horrendous.
Wait, did
We
he have
had
Ozil? Did he have
Mustafi
Ozil?
and David Luiz at the back. It was horrific.
Well, David Luiz, the Champions League winning
Yeah,
centre
but that was like
Well,
32-year-old
Bellerin
Finnish
was
David
there.
Luiz.
bro.
Was Torreira
Torreira
the
was
whole
on
midfielder?
CDM. We had Iwobi on the side, on the wings. You know, we had Nicholas
Iwobi's
Pepe,
like a
who
good
spent
guy.
£76 million.
Iwobi-
Iwobi's like a what? Quest, finish
Iwobi's
that. Go
a
on.
Premier League
Iwobi's like a what?
stalwart for Fulham, bro. He
Yeah.
comes through every week for them. He's got a
He's
banger.
like against Man City.
Don't act like
Iwobi
Iwobi
He's
is
level now. That's what we're saying. He's at his level now.
Iwobi wasn't even there.
In the last European
wasn't
final
even there.
you were in. So don't act
Iwobi
like he
wasn't
had
even there when Arteta
he
got
didn't
there.
have
So
a crap
let's not
squad.
talk
Like,
about
what is this?
Ozil was there, wasn't he?
Squad, bro. He didn't have a crap squad, man.
Yeah, Ozil was
Stop.
kind of there.
Those all good player. It wasn't. I love about the disrespect for Mikel Arteta is that we've all gone from how much we laughed at that Arsenal team and squad to now saying actually it was quite good. It's I love funny old world, isn't it?
At
Funny
the
old
time,
world.
they weren't saying that, were they, Tom?
No, exactly. Listen, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show. Kate, Seb, Wolfie, Quest, and Kunle. Absolute fantastic panel tonight. Brilliant debates and conversation. I want to thank our viewers for everyone who's tuned in, liked, shared, subscribed, and super chatted. This is going to redirect you to Hassam's watch along for Man United West Ham. No Delic tonight for Manchester United. Aidan Heaven steps into the midfield as a replacement for him. Haaland boy doing his thing. But Bruno is fit. A lot of people thought he was going to be out injured. Bruno is fit and Cunha is back in the team. But go and raid Hassam's channel now. We ain't going live just yet, but go get over there. Make sure you're watching that watch along. We're live after Man United. Fingers crossed beat West Ham tonight. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Peace.